Good morning, friends. Let's get it. Where are we? 5 days before the Super Bowl. Of course we're going to talk about it. I get it. I understand it. A lot of times I'm with you on this. I'll never watch the Super Bowl again. I hate the NFL. I'm still mad about the kneeling in it. I get it. And I'm not just saying this because my team's in it again. I'm saying it because this is, like it or not, an American institution. This is a great American event. We should always try to keep it that way. And if they're trying to screw up the works a little bit with the great American event, I think we should push back a little bit. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Super Bowl because the teams are there. Media day happens. All the crazy questions. But I got to tell you, and if you know me, if you listen to me for any amount of time, you know how much I cannot stand Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL. Various reasons. This is the main reason. He might be the dumbest corporate executive, which is basically what he is, in the history of this country. I truly mean that. But it'll make you feel good, because if you ever found yourself in a situation at work, in a big corporation, where you're like, how am I stuck here and these idiots are making millions running this place? He's a perfect example. Because the league is so huge, because it's this big American event, it's successful despite him. Anyway. We'll talk about that. We got to talk about some news stuff too, though, of course. No bigger issue right now than the SAVE Act. That's right, voter ID and cleaning up the voter rolls in our country. Big push happened for this yesterday we got to talk about. I think it's good stuff. Unfortunately, part of that, we have to play Chucky Schumer. And I hate to do that to you this early in the morning, unless you listen or watch it later on replay. But you're going to have to hear what he said yesterday. They're not even trying to hide what they're trying to do anymore. To muck up elections in our country. Anyway, we'll get to that. And speaking of the Super Bowl, well, how about this? We've got the alternative halftime Super Bowl show. I was just saying it yesterday. I haven't heard much about this thing. Is it happen? Is it not? The Turning Point USA thing with Kid Rock. Oh, it's happening. All right. All right. We'll get to that in just a second. Right now, though, thanks for finding the live stream. I'm in beautiful downtown Jacksonville, Florida for some business, but which is another Florida city, by the way. This is nothing to do with anything. That's really grown by leaps and bounds. You might have seen this report coming out yesterday, too, that southern cities, red state cities, cities like this, Jacksonville, medium-sized cities, booming. Why is that? Because they're leaving the blue states. And that will affect the midterms. But anyway, thanks for finding the live. That's neither here nor there. Thanks for finding the live stream and the replay, all your favorite channels, audio podcast, too. Let's get to it. That's right. I'm telling you, and I get it, if you don't want to hear any more about the Super Bowl, you almost can't avoid it. Every bit of our culture is tied into this thing. Commercial advertising, if you're just a fan of the game, you just like to gather with friends and family, that's why this dominates 2 weeks leading up to the game, including this. You and I were just discussing this yesterday. Now, there's all kinds of talk about an alternative halftime show where we don't have to watch Bad Bunny. Where is it? It's going to happen, is it not? Where'd the plans go? Well, apparently it is going to happen. This was, well, first of all, let's get a little preview of what that might sound like. Here's Kid Rock, headliner of the alternative Turning Point USA halftime show. This is when he was at the, I'm pretty sure this is the RNC convention. A little preview of what the halftime show alternative version might sound like. All right, so you know what's so funny about this? Well, two things right there in the clip. Sorry, audio listeners only, but you saw there at the end of the clip, J.D. Vance and his wife, kind of like, I don't know if anybody's whiter than J.D. Vance, except maybe me, but he's there enjoying it like bobbing his head. He can't show too much emotion. His wife, Usha, didn't know what to do about it. But anyway, there you go. The other funny thing is people who probably never really liked Kid Rock or his music before, all of a sudden are massive fans because it's not Bad Bunny. You know what I mean? So, but apparently it's going to happen. For all the details, Andrew Colvin is, first of all, he was a really good friend of Charlie Kirk's, but he's a big, I guess now he's the leader of the Turning Point USA organization. I don't know who's, organizing this entire thing. He was talking to Jesse Waters last night about this with the details. Here is the alternative halftime show. And I guess more importantly, how we can see it.
Are you focused on the halftime show for the Super Bowl? It seems like it. You want to tell the audience what's up?
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, we made the big announcement today. We've got Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Bryce Lee, and it's going to be an amazing, amazing show. And we're going up against the big guys, little David and Goliath, but I like our chances. A lot of people reacted pretty well today.
All right, so how do we stream that? How do people get that?
It's going to be all over X. It's going to be all over YouTube, all over Rumble. Check it out there. We've got a bunch of partners that are going to be taking it live. So if you've got your YouTube app, you've got your X open, fire it up right in the middle, right in a halftime show with some other thing that's going on. When it's going to be fun for the whole family. Made for TV concert, Jesse.
All right, so all kinds of places. Basically, here's the long and short of it. On X, stream it, their website, some other TV partners too. This is what it is. Kid Rock, as you know, Brantley Gilbert, interviewed him. He's a great country guy. Lee Bryce, another great country guy, and Gabby Barrett. I don't know who that is, but maybe you do. So it's going to be on during the halftime show. Here's the thing, and I didn't understand this at first. And my Mrs. Adams, my wife, happens to be a marketing genius, and she understands all of this. So we've been talking about this for like 3 weeks, ever since the Bad Bunny thing, really kind of kicked up. My initial thought, which I think was wrong, but you may be there too, was it's just going to, why bother? No one's going to watch it. It doesn't, certainly not going to beat the Bad Bunny halftime show just by default. It's going to be on every TV in America, almost. She pointed out to me, brilliantly, by the way, she said, it's not what it's about. It doesn't matter. It's just about sending a message. If enough eyeballs, enough attention, it's about taking eyeballs and viewership away, even just a little bit, from the NFL's traditional halftime show. It's the first time it's happened. I mean, think about that. This is Super Bowl number 60, right? We've never had an actual alternative version. Is this going to beat is it going to beat Bad Bunny in the ratings? No. Oh, God, no. No, that's not going to happen. Doesn't matter. It's a message sent to the NFL that we can put together choices some down the road, because you give it 5-10 years, there may be something that actually does beat whatever they try to push for a halftime show. That can happen. Now, I'm just going to tell you ahead of time, coming up this Monday, I'm going to tell 100%, I don't make predictions, but I will 100% tell you what the headlines are going to be to try to disparage the Turning Point USA Kid Rock halftime show, the All-American halftime show. I'm telling you right now, this will happen. Minuscule ratings. Hardly anybody watched. A 1,000th of the viewership for Bad Bunny. That's going to happen, right? Right or wrong, it's going to happen. That's your sign that they have a vested interest in making sure there's no alternative halftime show. That's your sign that this is going to happen. So it's not about beating it. There's no chance in hell that this thing is going to beat it in the ratings. It's about sending a message to the NFL, which I think alternative choices in anything, in any media, I'm all for it. Fantastic. So that's where we are on that. But it's going to happen. I'm still not going to see that one either, by the way, because as I've told you many times, at least this is how the other 11 times went. When my team is in it, I am too stressed out to watch or be aware of any halftime show. When my team is in this game, I'm usually pacing outside on the lawn or on the patio, too nervous about what's going on to even be aware of it. Remember the Janet Jackson thing? The anniversary of that was yesterday, I think, for Super Bowl 38. Missed it. I didn't see Janet Jackson's boob live on TV because I was pacing in my patio, because that's how nervous I was. Missed the whole thing. Anyway, we'll talk about that as well. All right, we got to get to some news. We got to get some news, but it's going to be good. It sounds bad, but it's good. Is about the SAVE Act. Big push happened yesterday for the SAVE Act, which you know is to secure our elections. As my new favorite politician, Tim Burchett, dadgummit, Tim Burchett for Tennessee, as he said yesterday in an interview, in Knoxville, where I'm from, if I want to buy a six-pack of beer, I'm not a drinker, but if I want to buy a six-pack of beer, dadgummit, I got to show an ID. And he's right. And in a simple, common sense kind of way, he points out the importance of this kind of thing. Now, there's a big push, more than ever, to put pressure on John Thune to make sure that this thing is done. Big push now from, Tim Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna to nuke the filibuster to make sure this is done. President Trump is putting pressure on them as well. Before we get to that, and I hate to do this to you, especially if you're watching live on the live stream, trying to get down a breakfast sandwich. I know. Later on, it may be okay, more palatable. I have to play you Chucky Schumer. I know, I apologize. That grating, horrific noise coming out of Chucky Schumer's head is unfortunately very necessary in this case. I got to play it for you because he's not hiding it anymore. This is where they are.
Workers, we have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
Let me put this through the Chucky Schumer translating machine. What he just said right there was, we know we can't win fair elections. And we know the only way is to create 15 to 20 instant Democrats by naturalizing them with the immigrants. This is why this explains everything, and they're admitting it now. This is all of it. This is everything you need to know. This is everything you've already known. This is what it is. This is why the border was open. This is why they're fighting so hard for voter ID. Think of how insane it is right now that we don't have voter ID requirement. It's insanity. All corruption, all the fraud you're seeing tied to Minnesota, all the voter rolls that have been mucked up, why they're looking right now at the voter rolls from 2020 in Fulton County in Georgia. All of it ties into immigration. Immigration is like the umbrella issue, illegal immigration. That's why they're pushing so hard for it. So Chucky Schumer is threatening to shut down the government. That's basically what he's saying, okay? Now, we got through that. We got through the tough part. We got through the crap sandwich to get to the good stuff. The good stuff, like I said, is a big push now to get this done, to put it through. They know. This is the most amazing thing about the SAVE Act, about voter ID and securing elections. It's close to now in the latest nationwide polls, nonpartisan polls, it's over 70% support of Americans in this country. Think of, honest to God, that's like your most hardcore liberal view-watching friends are even supported. Because there's no way to explain this in common conversation without sounding like a lunatic. No, I don't think you should have to show an ID to vote in an election. Even your lunatic friends can't even argue with that unless they want to cheat an election. That's the only possible way. So what's the good news? Where are we on this? Well, there's the big push, like I said. There's a big push to put pressure on John Thune, who's proving to be absolutely useless unless you do push him. But here's Anna Paulina Luna, who's been working with Tim Burchett and Gummit to try to get this thing done. This is what she said just last night.
Come back to the House. And so I've actually formed an alliance with a handful of other Republican members that will refuse to vote on any legislation to send it over to the Senate unless there's something specifically placed in it, and something called a rule that would prevent the Senate from stripping out the SAVE Act. So it would force them, if they choose to shut down the government, when they choose to reopen it, they will have to also then to simultaneously vote on the SAVE Act, which would basically save our country with election integrity. So we can play this game of chicken, but I do have a handful of Republicans that will stand with me very strong and ensure that this is done on behalf of the American people. So we're here.
Good. All right, good news. So what she's talking about there is in response to Chucky Schumer's threat to shut down the government. She'll say, okay, at some point you're going to have to open back up, and to do that, you're going to have to pass the SAVE Act. You're going to have to support this thing. So the good news is there's more support than ever. There's more movement than ever to finally insert some sanity and some common sense into our election laws. But it's still a long way to go. But let's see. But the bottom line is exactly what she has said in the past there, and what, again, Tim Burchett has said. This happens because of public pressure. This happens because they got through. This is one of the top 3, if not 2, issues that people voted for Trump for. Secure these elections. The guy ran on it. That was one of the mandates. Close the border, secure the elections. It's all tied in together. They know. They know what the American people want. It's just a matter of getting it done. So let's keep the pressure on. All right. Back to the Super Bowl for a second. No, I'm not talking X's and O's. Let's talk about the cultural aspect of this entire thing. We all know about the Bad Bunny issue. I was playing you the clips from Bad Bunny from the Grammys just the other night. I was playing these yesterday. So yesterday was the media portion. Super Bowl opening week, where they get to ask all the ridiculous questions. But Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner, does his annual, I guess it's not like a state of the league kind of thing. It's just like the Super Bowl press conference, where this is really the only time the national media gets to ask him a bunch of questions. This is where Roger Goodell always, never fails, shows how dumb he is. And he's truly dumb. What do you mean he's dumb? This is the most successful sport in the league, and nobody's dumb that makes $40 million a year. By the way, he does $40 million a year. No, I get that, and I understand that, but this is part of my reasoning. He's successful despite himself because we love this league. We love this sport so freaking much, they can't not succeed with it. You know what I mean? It's like despite him, he's just a tool and a puppet. Anyway, this was his answer when faced with what I thought was a very good question from some national media person about Bad Bunny and the politics of it. Not only Bad Bunny, remember they also announced Green Day as one of the pre-show bands too, who just, you know, they've turned their concerts into anti-Trump rallies or something. You want to talk about TDS victims. This was his answer to a very good question about politics in the NFL. Now, he's either this tone deaf or he's lying through his teeth. Here's Roger yesterday.
Bad Bunny made a pretty clear anti-ICE statement at the Grammys last night. What are you expecting in terms of political statement, whether that's from Bad Bunny or Green Day or any of the other performers?
On your first question, security is obviously one of the things we focus on the most. It's a Tier 1 level event that involves unique assets at the federal level, state level, and the local level, all working together. I see no change in that in the preparations for the Super Bowl. We've not seen that. We're working with all three of those levels and doing everything we can to make sure it's a safe environment. And the federal government is a big part of that, including this administration and every other administration before that. I think Tier 1 is probably been the category we've had since at least the turn of the century, if not before that. So I just anticipate we'll continue to do the work to make it the safest event. On your second question, I think everybody listen, Bad Bunny is, and I think that was demonstrated last night, one of the great artists in the world. And that's one of the reasons we chose him. But the other reason is he understood the platform he was on, and that this platform is used to unite people and to be able to bring people together with their creativity, with their talents, and to be able to use this moment to do that. And I think artists in the past have done that. I think Bad Bunny understands that, and I think he'll have a great performance.
I know that was long. I kept it going for a long time just to get to the second part of the question because you heard it like I did. Yeah, this guy really understands what Bad Bunny's all about, especially when you call him Bad Benny. He understands full well that this is an event, this to bring people together and unite people. Right. Sure, Raj. Right. Let me tell you something. Roger Goodell has absolutely no idea what Bad Benny, as he calls him, is all about. He has no idea about the past political statements. He's not met him in person. I will guarantee you that. He has no clue. He had people telling him in his ear, probably younger type marketing executives who just looked at the numbers and they said, hugely popular artist, we need to get more of the Hispanic support for the NFL. Maybe it's the one demographic we haven't fully captured yet. Because now we have teenage girls. Taylor Swift did that for us. Now we need, Roger, call him Bad Benny. Now we need Bad Benny to get out there and get us that portion of the population. He's absolutely, completely clueless. And I'll say it again. He's successful despite himself because that league is so amazingly popular. We can't help ourselves with the NFL and football in general. We love the sport. It's part of our culture, which is why I say this is part of our, you like the NFL, you're still mad at him for the kneeling thing, it doesn't matter. It's huge. It's going to affect your life one way or the other. It just is. It's not the official national pastime of the country. Baseball in name only, but really it's football, isn't it? All forms of football. High school, college, pee-wee, NFL, all of it. And that guy has that job because of the popularity of the sport. That's why he's a dumbass. Trust me on this one. Here's the takeaway on this, and I thought about this as well. If you're starting to find yourself stuck in like corporate America and you're like, you look at your bosses and you look at the owners of the company and you look at the board of directors, you're like, they're not smart. How am I stuck at this mid-level management agency in a cubicle or in an office and I know I'm better and I'm smarter than them. How come I can't get ahead? He's the perfect example of that because he's in that position because of his contacts and the enormously successful nature of the product. That's how. He's not any smarter than you or anybody else. And probably your bosses are the same way. All right, but we're getting closer to the Super Bowl. I can't wait. I'm excited about it. I just love it. Not just because my team's in it. More on that. I'm sure there'll be more Super Bowl stories coming out tomorrow, but more on the SAVE Act. More importantly on that. takeaway on that, the most important thing is keep the pressure on. They're starting to feel it. They're starting to understand it, despite what Chucky Schumer says. Thanks for finding me on the live stream Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Favorite platforms on X and YouTube and on Facebook. And the audio podcast always, even on the road, posted right after we get off here. Make it a wicked, what is this, Tuesday? Yeah. Make it a wicked awesome Tuesday. I'll talk to you tomorrow.